The Karl Anthony Towns situation is really interesting. They won 36 games and missed out on not only the playoffs, but the play-in tournament as well. But that's not the only reason that this is an interesting situation. Cat has 2 years left on his contract, D'Lo is expiring this year, and Covington, Beverly, Prince, Okogie, and Layman are all entering free agency this year. The only person under contract in 3 years for the Wolves is Jared Vanderbilt. So this team is going to look drastically different even next year. And Karl Anthony Towns knows this too. So from what I've been hearing, he has silently requested a trade, but he's also told the Minnesota front office that he will sit through free agency to see how the team looks, and then he'll make his decision. So not great for us exactly, because draft picks lose a lot of their value once you draft someone, but it also is probably pretty good for us because Minnesota is not exactly known for making good roster moves. So now, we've got to look towards the draft, and we went over a few guys last time. Mojave King among the top, Hunter Salas right below him on my draft board, and then there's Benedict Mathurin. Oh, and if Nikola Jovic is there, he's the pick at number 10. I might even consider trading up if Jovic is there around 7. We definitely have the picks to do so. But onto the draft, Jaden Hardy goes number 1 to the Pistons. I guess Killian Hayes is expendable now. Jalen Duren goes to the Spurs. He's going to create hell for offenses with DeJounte Murray. Chet Holmgren is going to the Magic, so rest in peace, Wendell Carter. And then Paolo Banchero goes to the Cavs to further add to their front court jam. And Sam Presti continues with the theme of drafting athletes who can't shoot. Enter Damian Collins. But fast forward to our pick, guess who hasn't been taken? That's right, Nikola Jovic. So the guy who I wanted to take the most at this pick is here. So welcome to Houston, Mr. Jovic. And then the Timberwolves are going to take Jaden Ivey, who's a guy who literally just cannot shoot, but he's an absolute lockdown defender. Speaking of an absolute lockdown defender, Mojave King is available for us at pick 13, so we're going to go ahead and take him. And that's it for our draft. We don't have any more picks, so we can skip the rest. I will say, I was misled by my scouts about the guys I drafted being able to shoot the hell out of the ball. They told me Mojave had an A three-pointer and he's got a C+. They told me Jovic was a B- or something and he's actually a C. So me saying I'm just not going to draft guys who can't shoot is now not true. But at least I went with these guys over Hunter Salas and Benedict Mathurin. Those guys can't really shoot either, apparently. But let's move on to free agency, where we actually have $35 million to throw around, but there's no one to really go for, honestly. I mean, as you can see, there's 4 centers at the top and Kyle Anderson. DeAndre Hunter is, for whatever reason, an unrestricted free agent, but he's probably going back to Atlanta on a 3-year deal. If it wasn't super unrealistic for him to be an unrestricted free agent, I'd throw like $20 million at him, but clearly he shouldn't even be here. And then as far as point guards go, Jalen Brunson was here, but he wouldn't return any of my calls. I'd have given him like $15 million a year too, but he decided to sign with New Orleans for $21 million over 3 years. And then as you can see, the Timberwolves' big acquisition at the beginning of free agency was TJ Warren, which hopefully isn't enough for Cat to stay. But in free agency we get no one. I mean, we've got guys at every position that we want to see, and no veteran wants to come to Houston to lose a bunch of games. But internally, our guys did do a lot of improving over the season and so far this offseason from what I've seen. Jalen Green has worked on pretty much every single thing in his game. His shooting is on another level from what we saw this previous season. He's been in the gym putting on pounds of muscle, working on his mobility. He's just dedicated to be the guy on both ends of the ball next season. It's said that he's put on like 10 pounds of muscle, which would put him at almost 200 pounds. KJ has also been working on his shot all summer. He knows that his way to minutes on this team is going to be one of the better shooters on the team. We'll see how that holds up in the season. Şengün has also been bulking up a bit and perfecting his inside scoring. I hope he's making time to work on that jump shot too, though. Speaking of jump shot, Garuba has been in the lab trying to get better on offense. He was a near 0, if not a total 0 last season. And all around, he's just a smart guy. I expect his general basketball IQ to improve this season. He could be an actual impact player next year, potentially. But what about the Timberwolves? What are they looking like? Well, Anthony Edwards is starting to blossom into a star, but outside of that, they added TJ Warren and Cameron Johnson, which definitely makes them better. But is that enough for Cat? Their starting lineup is D'Angelo Russell, Ant-Man, Warren, Johnson, and Cat, which honestly is pretty good. And then there's Jaden Ivey, Jaden McDaniels, Vanderbilt, and Noel. That bench is pretty not good, but the starting lineup might just be enough to get him to stay. Oh, speaking of, my insider's calling.